From San Diego, California to your town, it's the Quinn Early Show. Show up early and stay late for the best in life-changing talk. With NFL and Hollywood guests, to world changers and nonprofits, to Alzheimer's prevention and research. It's time to turn up. The Quinn Early Show.
When you would say, like, do you remember when, did she remember?
Sometimes
Really?
she
Wow,
would,
that's awesome.
or sometimes she would say, "Yeah, I remember," and she would elaborate, and it would be totally something
Like, oh,
that had
another
nothing to
thing,
do with
right?
the story. But I would just be like, "That's right," and we would
There you
laugh
go.
about it. So
good.
the biggest advice that I could give is just to enjoy the time that you have with your loved one, because even though it was devastating inside and it was hard to go through it with her, when I look back on it, those 5 years that I experienced with her, those were some of the most memorable and cherished memories that I have.
Wow.
Spending that time with her.
Now, new book, very exciting. Tell us about this, because this is very special to your heart.
It is.
And I love that we're a part of that, and I love being a part of that journey to help you get this out there.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a film. It is going to be a movie. I mean that. Tell a little bit about the book and why it's so special.
Yeah, so my mom wrote this book, Bryant Acres, and she wrote it in the late 90s. She tried to share it with me back then, but at the time I had my career, I was raising 2 small children. I was more concerned with, how my hair looked and the rims on my car than I was about hearing about our family history.
Right.
So as I got older and I matured, she actually showed me this book. She put it in my hands and she said, I can't go on with trying to have my book published. And she asked me if I would do it for her. So I took the book. And when I was going through, her journey of Alzheimer's with her, I didn't really have time to read the book at that time. I put it on my shelf. Then when she passed away, it was too emotional. It was too emotional for me to go near the book.
Oh, I'm sure.
So finally, when I read the book, I was blown away and I was overwhelmed and I cried like a baby when I read the book. And I knew then it was time. That was about 2 years ago, and I knew then it was time for me to have this thing published. So it's been a long journey, and I finally got it published. And when I got that first box of books delivered to my house, and I opened it, and I took this book out, and I looked at it, and I got on my knees, and I cried, and it's kind of emotional for me to talk about, but I just thank my mom, and I could just feel her presence with me, and it's just been an amazing thing. And I'm donating the proceeds from the book to research for Alzheimer's in her memory, and it's just a really amazing thing.
Give us just a summary of the beautiful depiction of the story that's in this book, because it's so powerful. It's just powerful.
So Bryant Acres is about a man named Sherrod Bryant and his life and times. And Sherrod Bryant lived during the time of slavery in the antebellum South, so before the Civil War. And he was a free man of color. And he sold himself into indentured servitude. He fell in love with the plantation owner's daughter.
Wow.
And then he went on to move to Nashville, Tennessee, and become one of the wealthiest landowners of the time. And he built a multiracial community, kind of like the community that he grew up in the hills of North Carolina, where whites, blacks, Native Americans, they all lived together. They were away from society. So he built this community on a larger scale of what he grew up in.
Wow.
And Mary Polly, who was his love, she would come to visit him from time to time in Nashville, and they ended up having a child together.
Is this the plantation?
This is
owner's
the
daughter,
This is
right?
the plantation
Okay,
owner's
so
daughter.
make sure-
Once he left and went to Nashville, so Bryant Acres is about a man named Sherrod Bryant and his life and times. And Sherrod Bryant lived during the time of slavery in the antebellum South, so before the Civil War. And he was a free man of color. And he sold himself into indentured servitude. He fell in love with the plantation owner's daughter.
Wow.
And then he went on to move to Nashville, Tennessee, and become one of the wealthiest landowners of the time. And he built a multiracial community, kind of like the community that he grew up in the hills of North Carolina, where whites, blacks, Native Americans, they all lived together. They were away from society. So he built this community on a larger scale of what he grew up in.
Wow.
And Mary Polly, who was his love, she would come to visit him from time to time in Nashville, and they ended up having a child together.
Is this the plantation?
This is
the
the plantation owner's daughter. Once he left and went to Nashville, she had a brother who lived in Nashville. Sherrod became friends with he and his family, and Mary Polly would come to visit twice a year. They eventually had a son together.
Wow.
Named Henderson.
So amazing.
And they lived happily as a family, and when she would come to visit, but then her uncles found out about the little boy, and that put an end to their relationship. So he raised Henderson on his own until later in life she came back, and then they lived out the rest of their days together.
I love the story.
It's a powerful story.
And lots of tissues needed.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate, he's my great-grandfather 7 generations back.
It's a true story.
True story.
It's a true story. So it's very exciting. I can't wait for the film to come out. Now the books come out. Make sure you get a copy of this because you will love this book. And right now it's we're offering a special right on Amazon, 99 cents for the next couple days for the ebook. And but this book is like only $17.99, I think.
Yeah, 16.27, I think.
Yeah.
So it's on Amazon. Again, both in paperback.
A love story. Women, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Get this book. It's beautiful, and it's true. It's a true story, which makes it even more beautiful.
Like Michelle said too, have your box of tissues with you because it's
You're gonna sob.
I know I cried like a baby when I read it.
Anything else you want to leave our viewers with? Any
just
piece of wisdom or
just as we get older, our parents get older too, and just love them, cherish them, don't take them for granted, because there's going to come a time when they're not there, they'll be gone. And that's what I did with my mom. I was fortunate enough to spend that time with her, and I'm honored to share her book with the world. You can visit BryantAcres.com. The book is also for sale on that, and if you do buy it on Kindle for 99 cents right now, then just also give me a 5-star review.
Good job.
I don't even have to say that because I think
you're gonna
love it. So you'll give it a nice review. But again, just share that time with your loved ones and your parents, and that's really the best advice I could give.
Before we go, I just want to. You're a stunt guy now in all these films. I saw some of the crazy things you do.
Yeah.
You do. Oh my gosh! I was like, are you loving that?
I am. I'm loving it. It's just been a phenomenal
You
experience.
worked with Will Smith and
Shamar Moore, Lawrence Fishburne, just to name a few. I've worked on a lot of Tyler Perry's shows.
Cool guy.
So it's just been a blessing.
It's a whole nother life.
It's a whole nother life, and
You were a star in the NFL. Now you're going to be a star in Hollywood. And when you were in the NFL, for the guys out there, we've done a lot of stuff for the women. Mm-hmm. What was one of your favorite moments playing football?
One of my favorite moments, I was actually discussing this with Michael. It is my very first time when I put on my game uniform when I first got drafted by the San Diego Chargers. And I stood in front of the mirror, had my helmet on, and it was snapped, and I'm standing in front of the mirror. It was like if anybody remembers those old Tiger Woods commercials, it was like, I'm Tiger Woods, But it was just a phenomenal experience. And then when I went out to the game, we were playing the 49ers, and oh my God, there's Joe Montana. There's Ronnie Lott.
You're like,
there's Jerry Rice. These were all my high school and college heroes, and now I'm playing against them. So that was an awesome memory. And the 12 years that I got to play, it was just a blessing, and I just cherish every moment of it.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning so early, and I'm so excited about this for you, Quinn, and I can't wait till the film comes out.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
From San Diego, California to your town, it's the Quinn Early Show. Show up early and stay late for the best in life-changing talk. With NFL and Hollywood guests, to world changers and nonprofits, to Alzheimer's prevention and research. It's time to turn up. The Quinn Early Show.